My name is Cassie Lester. I'm a Bath Township trustee. I support all my constituents out here. They are the ones that voted me into office, and I oppose the digester, and I have since day one. I will continue to oppose this digester until it is stopped. We don't need this in our neighborhoods. We don't need this affecting our water. It's time for this to go. It's time to follow our zoning resolution and enforce this zoning violation.
My name is Lori Venable, and I'm here to oppose the biodigester/poop pond, because if they can't tell us what's in that pond and what they're spraying on the fields, then our children don't need to be around it. When they tried to sell it to the farmers, the smart farmers asked them what was in it. They couldn't tell them, so they didn't buy it. So the next year, they again tried to sell it. Farmers asked, what's in it? They couldn't tell them. Half price. Next year, tried to sell it again, almost give it away. Can't tell them what's in it. Good farmers don't want it. We don't either.
Hi, I'm a Fairborn resident, and it's pretty easy to figure out why I oppose this. It was totally brought on to Fairborn without proper zoning, without proper procedure. It wasn't even voted on by the people. We were scammed from the very beginning. We were never told that this was supposed to be biosolids and toxic waste that we have spread over our fields.
This is an illegal operation that has been illegal from the start. So there's a lot of people upset that even though a cease and desist has been ordered because of improper zoning, nothing is happening. We have fought hard to remove this from our environment. And a lot of us are very close to the smell, the awful smell. It penetrates my house. What about opening my refrigerator? How about all the coronavirus it's hauling? It's so awful. So nobody knows till they have it in their environment, and it's illegally ran.
My name is Michelle Steiner. I live here in Fairborn, right in the subdivision right behind us. And I moved here 2 years ago. And frankly, if I had known I'd be assaulted by this stench, I would have moved somewhere else. I just can't stand it, and unfortunately I can't afford to move again. So I'm out here hoping something can be done to get rid of the stench. I don't know what can be done. If it takes shutting down the whole thing, so be it. If they can find some other solution, I welcome that, as long as they get rid of this odious odor.
I'm John Feltz. I live in Ashbury Hills, Fairborn. I'm here because I think the process that we've used to get to this point is against the law. The zoning commission said it's agriculture. We've got an industrial application going into an agricultural facility. If it has merit, we should have done it the right way at the beginning.
I'm Carla Sams, and I'm here to support Dovetail not putting poo on our farms. I'm here to get pit stick off these farms, putting poo, human poo on our farms. We got a hay and we got a hoe, and we got to get Dovetail. He's got to go. I have people that I've talked to on next door and they're saying they live on Trayvine Road and they can smell this poo. I got people on, Country Club area? I got people smelling it over there too. So I just want to let you know that I got all these people. Forest Hills is smelling it. I wish I had my list with me, but I can get you a lot more.
My 2 cents worth. I live in Fairborn, unlike many of the people over here. And I don't have a problem with farming. I don't have a problem with clean farming. I don't necessarily even have a problem with the recycling of the waste. I kind of question what kind of product you get. The problem I have is I live in an area that's agricultural. I don't mind farms, pig farms, cows, all the stuff, all the farming stuff. But what I do have a problem with is an industrial process going on just down the road from my home. And when you're bringing in a majority of waste from other cities and processing them in Bath Township, that's an industrial process. And as far as I believe that they kind of cheated the system in saying they were going to be an agricultural process, and it turns out to be an industrial process. And that's where I had the heartache with this. And I think that if they were to just stop bringing in the external waste, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the fact they're bringing in, majority of what's coming in is waste from, human waste from processing plants, that's where I have a problem.
I oppose this digester for a couple of reasons. One is we have health concerns, we have environmental concerns. They have a 6.5 million gallon lagoon, which is a storage pit for the processed fertilizer, as they would call it, which is 95% plus, less or minus, municipal sewage sludge. They add in a very small modicum of hog manure, agricultural waste, which is why they lost their zoning appeal. They claimed to be agriculture, and by the ORC's the Ohio Revised Code, they have to have 50% plus of hog manure in order to be deemed agriculture. They do not, and the outside zoning inspector found that, and it only took 3.5 years to get the township trustees, on the board of which, of course, sits the farmer, Tom Pitchstick, who owns this, the land that the facility sits on. So the wheels were very slow to turn. We got a lot of "this isn't our issue" from Steve Ross, sitting trustee. "It's not our issue," he said. You know, he doesn't want to hear anybody talk about it. He gives me 30 seconds or 3 minutes to talk the first time I ever come to a trustee meeting. First time I've ever come, you know, and I want to know about this, and they don't want to hear it. So we met a lot of resistance with the trustees. So from the very beginning, it was an adversarial relationship with the trustees and the facility and the citizens. And again, that was a big part of it, that a sitting trustee who was able to somehow get the agricultural designation through the township zoning office, and the township zoning inspector actually even filled out part of the paperwork for him. So when we see things like this, now you're dealing with sort of two different issues. You've got the actual health concerns and lifestyle concerns, the real estate value concerns, all of these things that, you know, the citizens initially see happening. And then as you dig down deeper into it, well, you know, to me, it starts to look a little bit like good old boy network type local corruption, which is a bit disturbing. The Inspector General of the federal EPA even issued a report in late 2018, I believe it was, that said, quote, "They are unable to assess the health and environmental impacts of biosolids." So that to me is a bit concerning. If the EPA itself can't assess the impact of these things being put on the land, then why on earth are we allowing it to be put on the land? Is that their modus operandi? That makes zero sense to me. We also know that when the initial agricultural exemption permit was granted, that through emails obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, the company heads knew that this was not going to be an agricultural facility. We have the former CEO, Chief Operating Officer of Renergy, on tape saying that he didn't know, quote, how they couldn't have known that it would have been municipal largely from the very beginning. So from the very beginning, everybody knew that this was not an agricultural activity, yet it was allowed. Industry operating in prime agriculture. And now we've been vindicated on that, of course, through various rulings that have taken place over the past several years. But nonetheless, the company continues to operate to this day, even after having a cease and desist order issued by the proper channels. So again, now we're back into the corruption aspect of it. Why is this company still allowed to act? You want to go build a fence in your backyard. You want to build a swimming pool. Well, zoning is going to be crawling all over you. You'll have to have the proper forms filled out, the proper things done. But in this case, no, and you know, it's not just a pool or a fence, of course, it's an industrial wastewater treatment plant. So yeah, you're dealing with a bifurcated issue. You've got the health concerns, you've got the You know, now they're saying they're an energy company. Oh, it's all about free energy and green energy. Well, when you look at the revenue stream of what this company actually produces and where they make their money, less than 10%, no more than 10% of their revenue can possibly come from the generation of electricity. It's all from the disposal of municipal sewage sludge. That's where the big business is. 42 plus trucks a day, sometimes running at $3,000 to $4,000 per truck. Do the math. We're talking about millions of dollars here. So it's not something to scoff at. It's not something to take lightly. It's big business. It's local corruption. It's, you know, health and environmental concerns. It's a whole slew of things that are involved here, and that's why real people come out and are concerned about this. Who would support having your lifestyle ruined? Who would support, you know, risking your drinking water, putting this lagoon over a sole source aquifer that can be as shallow as 5 feet from the ground to communicate with that aquifer?
My name is Bradley Martin. I'm sort of the de facto organizer of this. I was the guy on Facebook, on the Fairborn local sites, telling people that we wanted to do this. So that's me. I'm that guy. So basically, I've been involved with this issue for a few years. I'm a supporter of Cassie Lester and what she's been doing as trustee. I've attended many meetings. I've attended the EPA hearings and the zoning appeals. So I've been on this issue for quite some time. And the main reason why we're here is to raise awareness of the issue. We're hoping to see a lot of new faces. And we did, and we're very happy about it. And basically our end goal is to have the operation on her road, the biodigester operation, stop doing what they're doing, either by completely shutting down or drastically altering how they do their operation. There are safer ways to do it, and it's being done in other parts of Ohio, and if it was done here, great, we'd be happy. You wouldn't see any protesters here if they pasteurized the biosolids, if they covered the ponds, and if they injected it in the land properly. There wouldn't be a whole lot of people here complaining about this. I live right here, about 1.5 miles away from the biodigester. Whenever there's a southerly wind, we can smell it. It's like being in a full porta potty at 100 degrees and you're locked in there. That's what it smells like. It definitely does not smell like a hog farm. So people in our neighborhood have been getting sick. I have respiratory issues. My wife has respiratory issues. She has respiratory issues. I'm currently nauseous right now. I'm nauseous half the time. These are issues I've never had living anywhere else. I cannot prove that the biodigester caused it, but it's really suspicious that once I move here and once it's up and operating, I'm having all these issues now. This isn't just about the smell. It really is about people's health. There are dozens of trucks going in and out of her road every day, and her road is a very tiny rural road, not built to handle that truck traffic. It's being destroyed, and taxpayers are going to have to pay for it eventually. And we don't want to pay for it because all it does is enrich one family, just one operation. Tom Pitstick, he leases this land to Renergy. He also gets free electricity out of the deal. Nobody else gets anything out of it. He, as a public official, is enriching himself by having this operation on this land that a lot of locals don't want. Now, there are other people here, and if you go and look at their license plates, they're not from this county. They're not from around here. And that's another issue, is Steve Ross is not elected to his position. He is an acting trustee. The seat he's sitting on belonged to John Martin, no relation to me. He retired less than a month before the 2019 election, and the law states if you do that, John Martin was able to pick who took his seat that's up for 2021. So rather than face re-election against Cassie Lester, Steve Ross was handed John Martin's seat. I made mention of all the dozens of trucks going back and forth every day on her road. There was a recent traffic study done by what, the county? Yes, the county did it. And Steve Ross just very quickly glossed over it at a meeting. And if you weren't if you weren't listening closely, you wouldn't have caught it. But since Cassie was there, we were made aware of this issue, and we requested the study, and the study basically says the road is not built for all this truck traffic, and it's actually unsafe for oncoming traffic to face these trucks on the road. I know the one resident, Luke Borntrager, his dog was killed by one of these trucks. But yeah, we're basically here, we're frustrated. We wanted the trustees to know that we're still here because many of us were at these township meetings for years. And I think they've been reveling in the fact that they haven't had to physically face any confrontation. Now, obviously there's a reason for that because of COVID-19. We're in a beautiful park. There's a pavilion over there where they can set up a meeting. It's beautiful weather today. People could have set up chairs and actually attended the meeting. But they chose to be in the closed door setting because they don't want to face any confrontation. They don't want to face any criticism. They don't want to face any questions. And when you talk to Steve Ross about this, he says we're attacking him. He says we're harassing him. And those are his words, not mine, his words. And we're just concerned citizens with questions.